So this is the water tank I have outside my home, and a problem I'm having is that at the top of the tank I have a leak. And I think it's just because the pipe that's connected to the top of the water tank is kind of at an angle, where I think it should be horizontal. So I'm going to try to fix that. And you can see here, this line that runs here is coming from a spring I have. If I turn this on, you can see the water. This is the water coming from the spring. So it travels up here, and then it feeds into my water tank. But since I'm working on the tank, I think I'm going to drain it to see if there's any sludge that's been accumulating over the years and so on. And here's the bottom of my driveway. And so for months now, water leaking from the tank has been running over my driveway. So definitely not something you want to have. It's something, see if I can fix this. Here's the spring along the road where I'm getting all my water from to fill up my water tank. And here, you can see there is a black pipe. And so the reason why there's a spring here is because you have porous soil hitting non-porous soil, and the water has nowhere to go, so it comes up. And then what you do with a spring is you have a lot of coarse gravel that you bury in the ground, and then you put a pipe in that, and then you can access the water in the spring. And since my house is downhill from the spring, the water is just pulled down to my house through gravity. Okay, so I'm about to drain the tank. So I'm going to turn off the water to the tank because I don't want to drain it and fill it at the same time. Jesus. Yeah. Switch off the water coming out of the tank. Don't think it matters, but who knows. And here is the drain valve for the tank. So I'm going to turn this on and drain the tank. And here's the inside of the tank, slowly draining. Okay, so I'm in the belly of the beast here. This is the water tank, and here's where the water was draining out over here. And at the bottom of the water, there's quite a bit of iron deposits. There's quite a bit of dirt. You can see I'm kicking up. I'd like to clean that out at some point. But here, the water coming in, so this is the pipe where the water was coming in from my spring. There's a float here, and the float should shut off the water from coming in. I guess I can test that out real quick. But the float should, as the float goes up, it should cut the water off from coming into the tank anymore. So maybe it's this float, but yeah, still trying to figure out what the problem is. Float definitely seems to have problems. So right now I'm holding the float up, and in a certain position it actually stops the water flow. And I see that where my spring pipe connects to the water tank isn't leaking anymore. So I really feel like it's something wrong with the float. Again, is the line that feeds the water tank, and when I disconnect this part here from the tank, you can see that this really isn't even intended to be waterproof. So what's happening is that the plunger isn't engaging, isn't working. It's allowing the water level to come up to this point, and that's why I have a leak. So pretty sure if I fix the plunger, then the leak will go away. So I think what the problem was is this pipe was rotated at a strange angle and that was causing the plunger to go up at an odd angle. And it wasn't really engaging this piece here that blocks the water. So I think as long as this part is pointing down, exactly down, then when the plunger goes up this way as it was intended, it closes this valve here. But this pipe was pointed at like a 45-degree angle, and so the plunger was going up at a very weird angle somehow, and it was not engaging the plunger. So I'm filling up the tank again. I have no idea how long this will take, but when it's full I can test to see if I fixed it. So as you can see, if the plunger goes normally up and down instead of at an angle, it does shut off the water flow. Looking at it some more, having the plunger at a 45-degree angle wasn't good, but I think what the problem was this screw right here wasn't tight enough. This was loose. And this was allowing the plunger to rotate on the end of this lever here. So the plunger never really engaged this lever. And the other end of the lever pushes the plunger into the pipe and shuts off the water. So I think that by tightening this screw here, I think I fixed the problem now. And again, we'll fill up the tank, wait a few days, I don't know, and see. And I have to say, I'm glad there are no snakes down here, and this water is very cold. I could not have done this if I hadn't drained the tank.